Welcome to the most authoritative hour on TV. It's the Founders Day edition of The Pulse. We're live from our studios in Kokomlimli on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Remember, we are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. This afternoon, Volta, Bono, and Bono East regions emerging as COVID-19 hotspots in the country as cases in that region significantly increases. We'll hear from the Ghana Health Service, which says the Volta region, which had only 16 active cases as at 1st July, now has 532 COVID-19 cases.
We are having some emerging hotspots outside Accra and Kumasi that we know of. That is now we have Volta having new cases. Bono and Bono is also sharing some cases.
Also this afternoon, double jeopardy for the country as the Ghana Health Service confirms an outbreak of suspected scabies disease in the Yonyo district of the Northeast region in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. This afternoon, we are live in that district as a highly contagious skin infection infects an estimated 400 people in parts of that district.
When I start scratching my body, it is some liquid is coming out.
Plus, after 3 months of back and forth with the police, the much anticipated Fix the Country protest came off this morning. We have sights and sounds from the events that saw protesters thronging the streets of Accra to drum home a demand for the country's problems to be fixed. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities, Dignilu, Affordable, Safe Sanitation. Remember, we're also streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and all our social media handles. Tweet at us with the hashtag #ThePulse. My personal handle is @TheNana Aisha. Happy Founders Day. Always a pleasure to host you. Many thanks for choosing us. Let's begin with the COVID-19 pandemic because Volta, Bono and Bono East regions are emerging as COVID-19 hotspots in the country. The case rise in these regions since July has been significant. Director of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kuma-Boaje, who gave an update on the country's case counts at a briefing, mentioned, for instance, the Volta region, which had only 16 active cases as at 1st July, now has 532. Most of these cases were recorded in schools.
The current situation is that as at the 1st of August, we have confirmed a total of 106,434 cases. And I'll give you the further analysis of that. And that the total tests done is 1,449, 1.49 million tests. There were 98,814 recoveries, and we have so far recorded 854 deaths. And you can see that we started this problem with about 817, so you can see how far, how many people have done. Our current active case is 6,766, and this is quite worrying. So as that tells us that in the last few weeks, we have increased, our active cases are increased from 1,600, that's in the last 1 month, to 6,000, to over 6,000 in 1 month. There's been a very steep rise in the active cases in the last 2 weeks. We have increasing hospitalization and deaths. We are having some emerging hotspots outside Accra and Kumasi that we know of. That is now we have Volta having new cases. Bono and Bono is also sharing some cases. We also have workplace and school outbreaks taking place. The general hotspots still remain as we speak today. Accra is deeper, then followed by Ashanti region. And then you have the other regions. Now we're seeing Volta, color is getting deeper. Eastern, Central are also showing increasing number of cases. When we come to Volta region, we've seen a lot of few more schools there getting outbreak, that is also influencing the numbers they are getting. If you look at our active cases, you can see that the chart there is quite steep now. Very steep. The last second we peaked at about 8,000. And if nothing is done urgently, in the next 1 or so weeks, we might just cross the 8,000 mark. So there's a lot that we all need to do to avert this. This has also shown in our hospitalization. Currently, just in Greater Accra alone, we have 272 persons on admission because of COVID. 36 of them are critical. Severe cases are 87, and about 149 are mild to moderate. There are always, you can see that there's a steep increase in the number of critical cases, making it difficult for the case management team and affecting our ability to provide ICU beds for the teeming number of people who currently
is warning of a very steep increase in the numbers of critical and severe cases if the low adherence to safety protocols continue.
We also have seen, as all of you are aware, that still there's a total disregard to the use of the face mask by the general population. And unfortunately, the Delta variant has become the main dominant variant currently as we speak now, especially in Greater Accra region where we've done extensive work. The next slide. So you can see that from the curve that you are seeing, the third wave is on its way up, and we hope that we will work, and we all of us, not just the health sector, including the people, will be able to avert this by applying the protocols and adhering to all the protocols, including acceptance of contact tracing, cooperating with contact tracing, and isolation, so that we can bring these numbers down. And we all of us, not just the health sector, including the people, will be able to avert this by applying the protocols and adhering to all the protocols, including acceptance of contact tracing, cooperating with contact tracing, and isolation, so that we can bring these numbers down. So if you look at the 7-day moving average, the next slide, you can see a steep rise. In the second wave, we are very approaching where we peaked in the second wave. But there's an opportunity for us to work very hard to start reversing this by simply applying the very protocol that has worked for us over the years, over the months, the first and the second wave, to be able to bring this down.
And now joining me for more on this is Dr. Senanu Jokoto. He's Deputy Volta Regional Director of Health in charge of Public Health. I'm grateful for your time this afternoon. Dr. Jokoto, Volta region, which had 16 active cases as of July 1, now has 532. What happened?
Thank you very much. A very good afternoon to all your listeners. It is an issue of concern for us to have moved from 16 cases to 532 cases in just 4 weeks. And this largely has been influenced by, let me say, 4 main factors. Anytime we have an upsurge in Greater Accra region and the Ashanti region, usually because of the interconnectivity between the region and these regions, eventually we get cases also here in the Volta region. Same was replicated in the first and the second wave. The second factor has been the suboptimal adherence to protocols, safety protocols, especially wearing of masks properly. It is something that has not been the best at all. And usually people ascribe reasons as complacency, people getting fatigued with doing the same things and still being told there's COVID, so they should continue doing it. And then, like the rest of the country, we also have very low vaccination rates. We are hoping that when the vaccines also come in, majority of the population in the Volta region would also have it, and this would also help. And from the genomic sequencing that has also been done at the University of Health and Allied Sciences, we have also come to the realization that this current outbreak is fueled by the Delta variant. So these are the four main factors that have driven our case count from 16 to 532 active cases in the past 4 weeks.
Now, Dr. Jokoto, health officials in the Volta region, I'm sure, are extremely worried about this development, coupled with the fact that these cases are recorded from the schools.
To say worry might not be the accurate description, because we are drawing on the experiences that we have acquired from the past 1.5 years. And we also know that we have an enhanced capacity to respond to infectious diseases. We still enjoy a lot of cooperation from all the stakeholders within the Volta region, from the Regional Public Health Emergency Management Committee and all the religious organizations and so on and so forth. And we also have guidance from the and support from the National Response Team. So this is a challenge that we have before us. And like I said, we are going to draw on these strengths to be able to overcome the current upsurge in cases that we are seeing. What we ask is that the general public comes on board and supports us. We would continue to engage them. We know that they are fatigued. We know that some of them want to give up, but this is certainly not the time to give up. We still have a long way to go in controlling this particular pandemic in the schools as well. As soon as we hear that, or we find out that it's an outbreak in any institution, we have response mechanisms in place. Usually for schools, if it's a tertiary institutions, we let them revert to online lectures. Those who have infections are isolated. Those who have to be quarantined are also quarantined. And we enhance adherence to protocols within those institutions. And usually, within 2 to 3 weeks, we are able to avert the outbreak in those institutions. Luckily, most of the cases have been mild, and with quite a number of them even being asymptomatic. So as much as possible, we take those who are at risk, those who have comorbidities, those who are aged within those institutions. We make sure that we take them out so that the risk of them suffering, getting the infection and suffering from severe disease is eliminated. And so these and many other measures have made it possible for us to deal with some of these institutional infections. But like you said, it's cause for concern, and we have to continue to enforce the safety protocols especially.
And I'm happy that you talk about drawing examples from other regions. And of course, having noted that adherence to the protocol has been a challenge in the Greater Accra and Kumasi, for instance, how differently is the region intending to face this kind of development?
I do not intend to preempt the Regional Public Health Emergency Management Committee's decisions. But what I know is that in the coming days, most likely we are going to see a lot more enforcement. We have been speaking to the public about the risk that they face. And I would like to use this opportunity to also thank the media, especially, who have been very supportive. But we still notice that some people are still not adhering to the protocols. Whilst commending those who have been adhering to the protocols, I would want to once again appeal to all those who live in the Volta region and are coming to the Volta region to please adhere to the safety protocols. We do not want to get to the point where enforcement would be the mainstay when it comes to adherence to protocols. We want people out of their own will and understanding of the situation to be able to adhere to the protocols. But certainly, enforcement is something that is on the table and that is being considered.
Dr. Senanu, I want to thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Dr. Senanu Jokoto, he is the Deputy Volta Regional Director of Health in charge of public health. Meanwhile, Fda Boss Deletes has justified the authenticity of the antigen diagnostic system used at the Kotoka International Airport for Covid19 test. Responding to some claims and concerns about the accuracy of the results, she outlined the rigorous processes every test goes through before results are released. She adds the devices are so efficient that they are able to detect all strains being identified now.
The testing device at the airport, it is an antigen testing system. It is not a rapid diagnostic cartridge system. So it's not like the ones that you can buy in a box and you can use yourself or that people are using at home. Sometimes people get these things confused. And this was evaluated by the Food and Drugs Authority in July 2020. Now, the difference between this device and the other ones that people tend to confuse it with is that with the other test kits, you drop your sample on it or whatever, whether it's a swab, whatever, and the line comes and you read it with your naked eye. Now, with this particular device, it is an automated fluorescence immunoassay device, which means that it detects the virus by a certain fluorescence. And there is also what we call a nanotechnology technology that makes it even more sensitive. I'm trying to describe the device in as simple terms as I can. So when you go to the airport, you see that they put a swab in your nose. They put it in a certain solution. The solution is what contains the antibody. So if you have the virus from your nose will bind onto that antibody. They then drop it onto a piece of paper. It's called a cellulose paper. They drop it when they get to the machine. It binds again onto another antibody. So you have a sandwich, what we call a sandwich. So it's called an antibody sandwich. Then they put it into the machine. Once they put it into the machine, it binds with a certain nanoparticle that is on that strip. And then it is read by the fluorescence detector. So you cannot see it with your naked eye. All that actually makes the system more sensitive and able to detect the virus. Once this reaction has taken place, then you read it on an LED screen and it is printed out. I know that they give you a certain barcode. It is not, the people who are testing don't even know whose sample they are testing. It is based on a certain barcode that we all know when we go in for testing, when we come into the country. The RDT, that is called a lateral flow. It is your antigen will bind onto the antibody and then you read it with your naked eye. There's no magnification, there's no fluorescence, there is nothing. It is less sensitive. And currently, we have probably registered only about 2 of those antigen test kits, 2 or 3 of them. Now, when this device was evaluated to see whether it was suitable for its purpose, we all know that the PCR is what we call the gold standard. And therefore, in evaluating this device, we evaluated it with the PCR. That means that we took 100 samples that were positive, that had been determined as positive using the PCR, took 100 samples that had been determined as negative by PCR, and then the machine was supposed to be able to detect if it is positive by PCR, should be positive by that machine. If it is negative by PCR, it should be negative by that machine. In doing so, we then realized that this device meets our specification of not less than 99% sensitive and not less than 99% specific, which means that when you say specificity, if it is negative, it should be negative. If you say sensitivity, if it is positive, it should be positive. That was how that device was registered. Another thing that we noticed on that particular device was that even with low viral loads, that means that when you have very little of the virus in you, so there's something called a cycle threshold. the device was able to detect even very low viral loads. That was one of the bases for which we actually registered that device. And that device has full authorization, not emergency use. We have two kinds. Emergency use is when we just give you a year. Then we continue to monitor, and then we see how it performs. This device has full authorization. I know there are questions about what about the circulating strains? Can this device detect? I can assure you that the test kits that people are using cannot detect strains. So all the other strains that are circulating, Delta, Gamma, and all the others, those test kits cannot detect them. However, as standard practice, when a device is registered, and that happened with a device at the airport, we demand that if there's any new circulating strain, the manufacturer of the device has to test that device with the circulating strain and let us know whether it can or it cannot. And we go to the site to go and verify. So we receive that information, and then we go and verify. So with this device at the airport, that was the case. And throughout the pandemic, the device has constantly informed the manufacturer and the company has constantly informed the FDA when there's a strain change, and we will go there and we'll go and verify the documentation that they have sent us to ensure that it is correct.
The Ghana Health Service has confirmed an outbreak of suspected scabies disease in the Yonyo district of the Northeast region. The highly contagious skin infection has so far infested an estimated 400 people in parts of the district. Those affected complain of intense itching and burns at their private parts, with some of them having open sores all over their bodies due to the excessive scratching. JoyNews' correspondent Elias Tanko has been to the affected areas and speaking with victims who say the disease is making life seriously unpleasant for them, while they plead with authorities to come to their aid.
According to the Ghana Health Service, the disease was initially reported in the area in December last year, but disappeared while authorities were mobilizing to treat the victims. However, in June this year, the disease re-emerged and has since spread in over 10 hard-to-reach villages of the district. Villages include Nabal, Sangbal, Nangbal, Piabuni, Sangbani, Bingbani, Bankurgu, and other parts of the Tuna electoral area have reported cases. At King Kong, the epicenter where a large-scale infection of the disease has been confirmed, the villagers, both young and old, shared their plight.
This particular disease came as a surprise to us. We didn't know how it came about and then where it emanates from. So that was last year, December 2020, that this particular disease came to this community. But what I can talk about is how it disturbs people in this community. Me, myself, it has affected me, and I can share my experience with you. My buttocks is like pimples. It is when I start scratching my body, it is some liquid is coming out. It is like pimples, and there is boils around my buttocks and then the private part. So when I scratch like this, it's either blood that will ooze out or some liquid that will come out. Though I don't feel the pain, but I will feel scratching continuously. You see that every night when you start scratching, you scratch till daybreak, non-stop. So that is how the disease disturbs us. And then it is farming season. When you go to farm, you can't work. Immediately you start withing and your body become wet or sweat start coming out. Then you stop there and start scratching your body. It's not only children that it affects, but children and adults, everybody.
It's very dangerous. All her children has been affected, and in the night the children will be crying that she should be scratching their bodies. While she's also scratching her own, the children will also be crying other side that she should be scratching their. She's a mother of 7, and all these 7 children has been affected. How can she scratch all their bodies, including her own? This has covered everybody in the community, and as an elder person in the community, he himself has also been affected. So the children in the community, all of them are suffering. As he's sitting, it's about 6 months now. He don't know what they call sex. He can't even, make love with the wife. The wife private part is been affected. Him himself has been affected.
The victims, after a diagnosis by a community nurse failed to heal them, are now resorting to their normal traditional method to treat the disease. Some of them are drinking boiled herbs recommended by traditional chief priests in the area. The Ghana Health Service in the Uyo district has confirmed the outbreak, but is yet to take any action. The residents are asking for immediate help.
People are very angry that we have been neglected. This issue has been reported for long and nothing has been done about it. The district health director, whom I feel he has neglected the community, should try his best. It's not over yet. We still need his help. He should, work hand in hand with the regional director, and then they should get us help so that the people can feel better and continue their normal duty.
Ilyasu Tanko reporting.
Ilyasu Tanko is our correspondent in the Northeast region. He joins me via Zoom with more. Ilyasu, how are the residents coping with this one?
Well, Aisha, it's a very difficult situation for the people there. They're very restless. They are very restless in the area. And when you go, you see them gather together. Everybody scratching their body. And due to that particular excessive scratching, you see sores all over their bodies. They tell me stories of sleep deprivation. They said they are very tired. They have been battling with this particular situation. Adults there are not able to go to farm. School children are not able to go to school. And there's total lack of activity in this particular area as a result of this particular disease, Aisha.
And earlier I heard one of them talk about their district director who's abandoned the people. What has he been saying since the outbreak of this?
Well, what we understand is that this particular situation was first detected in the area in December last year, and the national security intervened, and so they wrote a letter asking that a supply should be sent to these particular people. So, but at the time that the health directorate were mobilizing to go and cure these people, we understand the disease vanished by itself. And so it re-emerged in June this year. And since then, according to the residents, they have reported that particular incident to the district directorate. And my understanding is that the district has also forwarded this particular report to the regional directorate. But as we speak now, these directorates are yet to send any kind of relief or any kind of medicines, or they are yet to take action on this particular report. And so there's the people some of them have resorted to treating the disease in their traditional way. One of them told me that he's been asked by a chief priest in the area to boil some herbs, but this particular herbs is not potent, it's not able to treat this particular disease. And so they are just trying any option, anything that they are told, they will try their hands on it. But unfortunately, since June, they have been battling this particular disease. According to them, all a diagnosis, all medications that have been prescribed to them, they have tried their hands on it, but to no avail. So as we speak right now, they are calling for the health directorate to respond to their plight and come with some medicines to help cure this particular disease in the area.
Ilyasu Tanko is a man in the Northeast region. He's still monitoring this for us. We will update you as and when we get information. Now, let's come back to Accra and go straight to the University of Ghana and speak with Kwame Amo Ntofianko, who is with the SRC of the school. Kwame, earlier you were talking about the fact that there's some students who have tested positive and still walk on campus freely.
We've actually had instances where some students, according to reports we received, to some extent, I could say they were not supposed to be present for their examinations, yet they came. And these are very sensitive matters that we are still engaging our management on to see how best we can get a resolve. It's basically the inspiration behind what we actually asking from our university management, because if at the end of the day we are trying to help curb the COVID-19 situation, and we've had instances where people were supposed to be quarantined yet they made themselves available for examination, then I don't think it's a step in the right direction. So these are some of the situations we are currently dealing with on our campus, and we are hoping that we could reach a proper resolution on that.
Well, what engagement have you had with management, and what has been the response so far?
Yes, so yesterday, a petition was sent to the university management concerning what is currently happening on campus as far as this COVID-19 situation is concerned. And we also made them understand that the SRC has put in place certain mechanisms to help address the COVID situation. I think 2 months ago, we procured some items, PPEs and sanitizers and a couple of equipments that would help students in their battle against COVID-19. We look forward to continuing with that by the close of this week. So these are some of the mechanisms we are putting in place. We are expecting that at least by the close of this week, there is going to be a response to that, because you and I could attest to the fact that UTAG is on strike, so matters of academics are to some extent on hold. So let's see how this issue could be dealt with, at least between now and Friday.
And how urgent is your call? How urgent do you want management to address this concern?
As fast as they can, because there's a matter. We are talking about COVID-19, and since our examinations have not begun, I believe that as long as they've had access to our letters, because they have actually responded or maybe acknowledged receiving our letters, and I believe that they would have deliberations at their level to see how best this issue could be dealt with. So that is why I stated earlier on that between today and at least by the close of this week, I believe they would respond to us, so we know what to do from there.
Kwame Amo Ntofianko, thank you so much. He's SRC president of the University of Ghana. Wish you well as you wait for management to address your issues. We'll take a break on the pulse. When we return, we'll be talking about health, the health requirements that countries need to invest in, especially in maternal child health and nutrition. Stay with me. Welcome back to the Pulse, and let's talk about health. The right to health requires countries to invest, especially in maternal child health and nutrition, and Ghana is no exception. That is why the Family Division of the Ghana Health Service and its health partners are organizing a conference on maternal child health and nutrition to address challenges faced by most women in child delivery and nutrition. Dr. Yasante, she is with the Family Health Division of the Ghana Health Service. Good to have you, Doc. Doc, currently, how would you assess the what's our situation in terms of the maternal health?
Thank you very much. Currently, what we have is the women who are coming for antenatal care has increased over the years. It has been increasing. And we are quite happy about that. But obviously, we can do better than that. We wish that we'll have all our pregnant women coming for antenatal care when they are, before they deliver. And then we also have the women who deliver at the health facilities by skilled attendants. It's also increasing over the years. And you know what it is like for a woman to deliver without help from somebody who is skilled to be able to make sure that if there's an emergency, the woman, something can be done so that the woman survives and the baby also survives. We're also realizing increasing trend in family planning acceptance in this country, even though the rate of increase is slow, but it is increasing, and we know we'll be able to get to the target that we set for ourselves in the country. Because as you are all aware, family planning is one of the key strategies to be able to, reduce maternal deaths, improve maternal health all over the world. Because if a woman does not get pregnant, she will not be exposed to the complications of pregnancy that will kill her, so that she becomes a maternal death. So if you're able to increase family planning coverage for the young as well as the old, we'll be able to improve maternal health in this country. And for that matter, even the health of children. The mothers will live to take care of their children. The children will also survive. Then we are also seeing an increasing trend in the services that we provide to adolescents in this country. We've been, tracking the services that we provide for them every year. And we are realizing an increasing trend because we've made provision at our health facilities, in most of our health facilities, so adolescents can walk into the facility for any service that they want, and they will be provided with. Because some of our health providers have also been trained in adolescent health services, so that they know exactly what to do for the client when they come to the facility. In line with this, we have a very vibrant adolescent health and development program in the health sector, which is available at the, from the national level right down to the CHIPS compounds. Our service providers are trained, a lot of capacity building activities are taking place, and to make sure, all in the name of making sure that when the young person comes to you, you know what to do. You don't start asking questions, does your mother know you are here, and things of that nature, but you see her as an individual and provide the service that the person needs, so that she goes away. After, she also has rights. And then we're also seeing a reduction in, a trend in the reduction, a decreasing trend in the deaths of newborns over the years. Slowly, we are seeing a decrease, and we are very happy about that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the conference for this year. What is it about?
It's a Maternal Child Health and Nutrition Conference.
Okay.
This is the third one we are going to have this year. We've had two previous ones which were very successful. And for 2021, the theme is Sustaining Reproductive, Maternal, Newborn, Child, Adolescent Health and Nutrition, Service Delivery and Resilient Health Systems in Health Emergencies and Beyond. We all know what has happened since January 2020, not only in Ghana. And in the midst of providing our routine health services, we were confronted with the COVID pandemic, and the health sector had to survive anyway and be able to provide services to our clients. So this conference seeks to share with the general public and everybody else what how the COVID-19 pandemic was able to challenge the health sector, and what the health sector was able to do, the achievements, and then the challenges that we had, and the collaboration that we had from the private sector.
Okay.
I'm sure you were in this country, you saw how there was a massive mobilization of resources from the private sector. We want to showcase all these, and then moving forward, chalk a path together as to how we'll be able to further improve services to mothers, children, and the newborn, and then adolescents as well. And also make sure that resources are available, there are equitable distribution of health resources for us to be able to provide more services to the mothers and children in this country.
Let's deal specifically with the theme you talked about. Take it again for me. Sustaining
reproductive, maternal, newborn, child, adolescent health and nutrition, service delivery and resilient health systems in health emergencies and beyond.
Okay. What has been the situation in the past? The reason this conference has become necessary?
This conference has become very necessary because it looks like the COVID-19 pandemic actually took the health service a little bit by surprise, even though we had systems in place, but we were still challenged by the pandemic. So in this conference, we seek to share with our stakeholders what the health sector was able to do, even in the midst of the COVID pandemic. The people that we were able to reach, all the good things that we were able to do, and also share with the general public what the challenges were, the partnerships that as a result of the pandemic we were able to build with our collaborators, and also be able to build a very resilient and robust system that will stand the test of time. That it doesn't matter what the future humanitarian emergencies will be like. The system will still survive and be able to reach the target population with healthcare services and nutrition. So that's what the conference seeks to do. And also mobilize resources, make sure everybody's hand is on deck, and we are providing services.
So after this conference, what's your target?
What we normally do is that during the conference, apart from showcasing what the health sector has been doing and the challenges, we usually have a lot of experts that come to do presentation on works that they have done that have impact on the services that we are providing. So usually after the conference, there are recommendations that are always taken on board. Action plans are developed after the conference based on the recommendations that were made. And then the actions, cost-effective interventions are implemented for us to be able to reach the target population. The last conference that we had, the outcome was the development of a strategic document which provides a framework for service delivery for mothers, children, adolescents, and the newborn, as well as the nutrition services in this country. It's a very well-written document that shows the path as to what we need to do for us to be able to provide services to our clients. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's what we intend to do.
So when is this conference coming on, and where and who can be part of this conference?
Yeah, we're starting from 11th to 13th of this month, and the venue is La Pleasure Beach Hotel. And then, the conference is going to be in a hybrid form. We'll have the in-person, very few people because of the COVID restrictions. We'll have very few people in person, and then we'll have a virtual version as well. So the virtual links will be shared for the public to be able to join and then participate in the conference.
We'll be looking forward to that conference. Thank you so much, Dr. Ya Asante, for joining us. She is with the Family Health Division of the Ghana Health Service. Now, babies in the central and western region with neonatal jaundice will no longer have to travel long distances to facilities with needed equipment to treat them, as a group has presented the regional health facility there with money to purchase phototherapy equipment. The Pediatric Society of Ghana, which received the money on behalf of the beneficiary hospitals, was concerned that children in that region with no such equipment would have to be moved to resourced facilities. Vice President of the Pediatric Society of Ghana, Dr. Hilda Mantebia Boy, therefore urged stakeholders to raise funds to assist the needed facilities with the phototherapy equipment.
Fundraising for phototherapy equipment came out of the National Newborn Jaundice Awareness Month celebration. So in May every year from the year 2018, we set time aside to educate the public on newborn jaundice, tell them what it is and why we need to do something about it. And newborn jaundice is a condition that is very common in newborns or babies. And there are some who may die if it's not seen early and treated. There are some who may develop disability or things like cerebral palsy, hearing problems, learning problems as a result of having had bad or severe neonatal jaundice. And that is also why we are very passionate about it, and we set time aside to talk about it. Now, we know that it's not just the education. There are some facilities that do not even have the phototherapy equipment that they need to take care of babies who have severe newborn jaundice, leading to, in some cases, late referrals, or even when the referrals are done, they may end up in facilities that do not have enough phototherapy or the high intensity or the strong phototherapy that these babies need to get better. And that is why we set out to have this fundraising campaign to try to get phototherapy equipment so that we can distribute them to facilities. We set one region, one set of phototherapy equipment. This time what we are saying is that give us some of the monies that you can give us so that we'll put it together and purchase this phototherapy equipment.
President of the 1975-year group of Wesley Girls Association, Harriet Rekubrobe, who led the Wesley Girls High School 1957-year group to present the money, called on the public to donate to the cause.
Been able to do this. We think that other people are capable of also supporting. And so we are calling on all institutions, old student associations, year groups, individuals to all help so that the Pediatric Society can meet the target of getting one phototherapy equipment for each region so that they can even expand it to the districts.
This afternoon, I have a lifestyle coach joining me via Zoom for a conversation from period poverty to SHE mentorship, which is focusing on the empowering of young people, especially women. Makosi is motivated by her own experiences and reaches out to others through her foundation, Sisters Keeper, a non-profit organization focusing on the welfare and development of the African girl child. Makosi Musambasi recently had some engagement with headquarters, popularly known as KAE, in the capital on the issue of period poverty. What can governments do to alleviate the hardship on some of these girls? She'll be telling me. Hello, Makosi.
Hi, how are you?
Great, I'm doing well. Hope you're fine too.
I'm well, thank you. I'm healthy and I'm back to base.
Great, great, great to have you. So what can governments do? That's what we're talking about, to alleviate the hardship of some of these girls, the headquarters.
So you see, period poverty is not unique to just Africa. Period poverty is everywhere in the United Kingdom. And what government can do in Ireland, pads are not taxed. So you're not buying, the pads are not so expensive. And what we are doing with Co-Impact, I'm part of a fund called Co-Impact. What we are doing with Co-Impact, when we push women into corridors of power, when we push women into, legislation, when we push women into powerful boards, they can go in there and speak on our behalf. And one of the things that pushes me to do pads especially is I was coming from Zanzibar once, and at the airport in Zanzibar, they didn't have a shop that sold pads, which told me that a woman is not in charge of this airport. I go to Ethiopia, the airport again did not have pads, which told me again that a woman is not in charge of this airport. So it's not just about giving them pads. It's also about sending them to school, educating them enough so that they take up positions of power and they make decisions that are user-friendly for the girl child on the continent.
Now, let's talk about your foundation, Sisters Keeper, and your perspective to life after surviving breast cancer.
Sisters Keeper was founded 7 years ago, before I even had breast cancer 5 years ago. But we all know that our steps are guided by the Lord, and we are before we are to be. So I find that life is too short for you to live just for yourself. When I was on my deathbed, I even got to the point of planning my own funeral. That's how hectic it got. I begged God and I said to God, if you let me live, I will be the woman to young women who I needed when I was younger. Because every girl child out there needs a woman out there to say to them, come up here, there is space, there's room at the table for us. Gone are the days where women were competitive. I was at a summit in Ghana where I think the French ambassador to Ghana mentioned that the doors that were opened for her were open for men. And cancer taught me that as a woman, I should start being comfortable with empowering other women.
And that's exactly what you've been doing over the period. Last week, you were in Accra for the SHE mentorship. Tell me about it.
Claudia Lumer is such a good friend of mine. And I find that, I don't know how many people here are Christians to understand this, but God said to Abraham, as far as your eyes can see, you can have it. As a life coach and as an NLP practitioner, scientifically, it is true. You have to see it before you can have it. So when you have mentorship programs like Claudia has, she had people like Anita, Aisha, Denta speak there, we are just saying to the other girls in the room, this is possible. I am possible. If I can get here, you can get here. And for me, my mission has always been Pan-African. It's not just, for Ghana. It's a Pan-African mission to change the face of Africa, one beautiful face at a time.
So for these girls, what should always be the watchword, the guide word, so that they would always be motivated, encouraged, and behave the way you have been over the period?
The watchword is responsibility. Take responsibility for your life and take responsibility for your environment. Nobody is coming to get you. If you don't do it, no one will.
Makosi Musambasi, she's a lifestyle coach. I'm grateful for your time this afternoon. I wish you all the best out there with the good work that you're doing. In Germany, people are returning from their summer vacations as kids are starting to go back to school. That means a new year of worrying about old concerns. While the pandemic is under control for the moment, health officials want to prevent a repeat of last year's deadly wave of infections. For more on what their plans are, let's turn to William Glucroft, correspondent with our partner DW in Berlin. What are the latest steps being taken in Germany to keep on top of the infections?
Well, the biggest decisions to come out this week is regarding young people starting at the age of 12 and older people and people at risk. So first, for that first group, basically kids 12 to 17, health officials, the health minister here, Jens Spahn, he came out this week and said they're going to start vaccinating kids as young as 12, and that they're going to start a round of booster shots, a third round of shots starting in September for people over the age of 60 and people with certain health conditions. Those are the two big things. Of course, these are the questions that many countries around the world are asking themselves. How young do you go? And what about a third round of shots? And Germany has made up its mind on that.
What kind of pushback has there been over new vaccination plans?
Oh, absolutely. Of course, we're all guinea pigs here. This pandemic shows that very clearly. So much data is just inconclusive about who gets the vaccines, who are they recommended for, do we need these booster shots, and if so, who needs them, and when do we need to give them? Very few countries, especially when it comes to the booster shots, have really gotten on board yet saying they're necessary. Germany now joins that small list, such as joining the United Kingdom, Israel, and there is an independent vaccine commission here in Germany that makes these kinds of recommendations to help advise the government on what to do. They're non-binding decisions. They are not political decisions. They're medical and health decisions. And this commission actually came out against giving booster shots exactly in the way that's currently been recommended, and is skeptical of giving shots to all kids starting at the age of 12. They want it to be a more focused kind of vaccine campaign, and yet public health officials nonetheless are going forward with their plans anyway. There's been a lot of pushback between this commission, between medical experts and political officials, public health officials. But this is the way that German health officials have decided to go as we wind down the summer and look towards the fall.
Absolutely, William, because it's everywhere there's been pushbacks. But why are these decisions being taken now by the German authority?
I mean, as we say, we are winding down the summer months. School is coming back into session. People are coming back from their vacations abroad. We were here last year. Many countries were here last year. We knew what was going to happen. There was a lot of fear that once people were too cold to sit outside and to be outside, people went indoors. Infections spiked, deaths went through the roof, and even with the vaccinations, which we didn't have last year, there is concern about the Delta variant. There's concern about kids going back to school who are unvaccinated, and really health officials want to try to take every step possible, since the supply is there, it is available here in Germany, to try to prevent what we saw last winter, which was a really, really difficult time with huge amounts of hospitalizations and many, many more deaths in the wintertime than at the beginning of the pandemic.
Glucroft, his correspondent with our partner DW in Berlin. We'll take a break on the pulse. We'll bring you more shortly. Welcome to the Pulse. Don't forget to join the conversation and tweet at us at the hashtag The Pulse or my personal handle at the Nana Aisha. Let's go to the streets right now, because earlier today, protesters of the Fix the Country thronged the streets of Accra to drum home a demand for the country's problems to be fixed. Leading the demonstration were mainly young people complaining about lack of jobs, corruption and poor infrastructure across the country. JoyNews' Manuel Kranting has been following up for us.
After 3 months of a back and forth with the police that traveled through the country's courts, finally, one of Ghana's most talked about demonstrations is underway.
Do they care of our next generation? Do they care? We shall be not a seat of how much problem?
So a lot of placards with various inscriptions, including fix the country, fix the roads, fix the education sector. All of these have been hoisted by the thousands of demonstrators who have joined the hashtag Fix the Country demonstration today. They'll be marching all the way from the Kwame Circle. And right about now, on John Evans High Street, headed for the Black Star Square.
What started as a Twitter hashtag has now morphed into a movement that wants to put the country's political class on its toes. From as early as 6 a.m., people were already massing up.
What the youth of Ghana need today is job. Before they came to government, they told us that borrowing is a lazy approach. Today, they have borrowed more than 200 million Ghana cedis, and the ordinary Ghanaian will use the money. President Aku is driving this country in the wrong direction, and it's sabotaging something in government about it.
Yeah, Gemma, and this MPP, no, we are the same. I'm here still, and I've seen into the party. The person the country,
This is rare. Most demonstrations in Ghana have largely been put together and sponsored by the two leading political parties, NPP and the NDC. This is different, says the organizers.
We all understand how people are being suppressed when they try to talk about what is going on. We know what happened in Nigeria. The Nigeria report is still a suspicion now. We don't know what is going on there. There's so much happening, so much things happening in this country that are not going on. That's why you can see the youth are poured on here to voice out and tell the people they have elected to govern them that nothing is going on.
I'm past 75 years. Must judiciously use our natural resources for development and not all these taxes of citizens creating problems for them.
This may be one street protest, and hundreds have joined. But there are thousands of others who have joined the protest on virtual platforms like Twitter, where it all began. The protesters say this may be the first of many more to come. The country waits to see if this will be enough to indeed get the country fixed. Manuel Kranting's report for News.
Meanwhile, police deployed over 5 crowd control vehicles and over 15 pickup vehicles packed with armed police officers. Some of the demonstrators had earlier raised concerns with a heavy police presence, but Accra Regional Police Public Relations Officer DSP Fda Tenge responding to the concerns justifying the deployment of armed police officers to supervise the protest. She's been speaking to my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson.
Generally, it has been peaceful. The police was able to escort the demonstrators through the agreed routes and also protect the communities within which they were marching, and until we got to the Independence Square here. Generally, we can say it has been successful and peaceful.
But then, many have raised concerns about the heavy police presence for this particular exercise. Some of the conveners and the protesters think that it was unnecessary. Why the need for all these police officers for this exercise?
The police deployed based on our own assessment of the events that we have today. And so I don't think anybody should question the police's security arrangements for this particular exercise. It is a demonstration, and so it wasn't for anything that the law requires that if you want to embark on a demonstration, notify the police for the police to prepare adequate security arrangements for it. So if we have done so, I don't think anybody should question the police's deployment for this exercise.
I think the numbers are okay.
To us, if we think that this was the best that we could deploy to ensure a successful event. And we have achieved it.
There were armed policemen as well.
What is your problem?
I mean, these are concerns raised by the protesters that they felt that there were harmless individuals who were just marching peacefully for this exercise.
This is, how do we call it, a deployment that have been made purposely for the exercise. And as I indicated, it was a component of police officers from the formed police units, from the SWAT units, and also officers and men of the service, including senior police officers, the armored squadron, and a host of us. And each of our units has its own anti-rioting equipment that they use in the discharge of their duties. Let us not forget that we are dealing with a crowd. We are dealing with mass gathering. So if the police thinks that we need to put our house in order and ensure that the legitimate anti-rioting equipment are deployed purposely for this event to ensure that we have an incident-free protest or march, I think that the police has the right to do so, and I don't think that we should begin to question the police for us. The most important thing is for the police to achieve our aim and objective. And if we have achieved that, I think we should rather applaud the police and not rather begin to find faults where there are no faults.
The Kratama motorway has now been caught up in the urban sprawl with settlements on both sides of the road. These settlements have come with countless unapproved crossings where many people are being killed. For our Drive Safe campaign today, Maxwell Agbagba interacted with both drivers and pedestrians who fear more people will die if nothing is done about the situation.
It is a hot afternoon and I'm on the Klagon section of the Tema motorway. About 100 meters away from where I'm standing is a young female student. She's carrying what is popularly called the Ghana Must Go bag. She has been standing there for the past 10 minutes. Like many others, she's waiting until a safer time to cross. The young lady I later got to know as Betty Kote, a 16-year-old second-year SHS student. Betty's friend Vanessa, who was also a student, died on this section of the motorway. She was on her way to school. Thoughts of that crash, she tells me, makes her very nervous whenever she comes across the highway.
It's very dangerous because the cars are moving very fast and none are ready to allow us cross. So I think if there's an overhead here, it will help a lot because I was struggling a lot to cross the road. It's very dangerous. I lost my friend just last year. She was also going to school like me, yes, and then she decided to use this place and the car knocked her down.
Well, you need a cocktail of guts and courage to be able to cross this busy section of the motorway here at Klagon. Majority of the residents I've been speaking to, they tell me about the daily risk of crossing the motorway here at this section. Many of the vehicles are speeding beyond 100 kilometers per hour. Many of the residents here tell me it's dangerous for them to cross this busy section of the motorway.
So that's 12 hours.
I've met another young lady, Beauty Doe. She sells biscuits and drinks at the Klagon lorry station. The woman who used to sell very close to her was one Hajia. Hajia used to sell cola nuts at the station. She was killed some months ago when she tried to cross the motorway to her home.
It was Saturday. We are from Monday to Saturday. So Saturday we are all here from
Monday to Saturday. So Saturday when she came, we were all here, we chat, we play, we do things, and we were like, oh, today you look beautiful, like a joke. So normally she closed around 5 to 6 that way, and she left. But as for me, I closed around 8. So the next day, Sunday, I was in the house and they called me. The woman had an accident on the motorway. I said, oh, what happened? And they said, she's crossing and can't make it. I said, oh, and you won't feel like. She's a good woman. She used to advise me and some kind of things. And if you are here, people are passing, they didn't dress well. She talk about it and those things. Crossing motorway there, it's very dangerous because this place is a highway and human beings supposed to cross, but because of the environment and now this place is developing, so and because of these stations, so a lot of people used to alight there and cross and come and pick a car here. A lot of life have been lost on this road. A lot. Motor, car and those things, a lot.
A lot of communities have sprung up very close to the sides of the motorway. That wasn't the case decades ago when it was constructed. Here in this Klagon community, which lies very close to the motorway, we've been here for the past 4 hours, and many of the residents we've been interacting with here seem to know someone who was knocked down and killed by a car whilst crossing the motorway. They are calling on authorities to do something about the situation.
Drivers who ply the Tema motorway are equally concerned about the dangers involved. They say it is more dangerous at night, especially at poorly lit sections of the highway. One of them told me how he skidded off into a bush when he tried to avoid knocking down a man who was in black clothes and crossing at a dark section of the road. Emmanuel Wood is a driver. He says 2 weeks ago he had to carry a woman who was knocked down to the hospital.
For the motorway is a busy road. Whoever uses the motorway is either on assignment. And actually, we are not supposed to cross the motorway. But these days, see, there are buildings around. So, and then the traffic too. And the traffic is the main reason why people used to cross the motorway. So, if you are to cross, the first thing is to wait till the moving cars to stop. If you meet somebody who is kind, the person will stop and stop the coming cars too, so that you can cross. Otherwise, that's you don't know, because somebody will stop. The other one too coming from other side wouldn't know somebody is crossing, and there will be an accident. She was a lady. Yeah, she was a lady crossing from the other side to this place. She didn't watch, and the car knocked her. I'm the person who carried her to the hospital. Yeah, so it was, and she wasn't only that lady. Almost every week, on the motorway, almost every week.
Many of such illegal pedestrian crossings are as a result of the residential communities that have sprung up on the sides of the motorway, especially around the Abattoir area, the Manette area, the Tetekwashi interchange, some meters away from the Accra Mall. Here at the Tetekwashi interchange, most pedestrians chew caution to the wind as they cross the road. Some motor riders have also taken advantage of the situation to do unapproved U-turns. General Secretary of the Ghana Private Roads and Transport Union at Shashi and its Legon branch, Obed Tando, says the situation is worrying to drivers who have to be careful not to run into persons crossing. He says they have witnessed many of such situations.
It's a highway, so definitely on the motorway, when the cars are passing by, some people attempt to cross to the mall, and they wanted to use the motorway, and through that, as you know, it's a motorway, definitely it happens. So some few years back, especially let's say 2018, 2019, it was rapid happening. It was happening. So as a union, you were then taxi. Okay, so when they come, we tell them to pick drop-in. But then some of them going to the mall have to pick drop-in 10 cities, 5 cities here and there. It was difficult for them. So in a way, they wanted to cross before they realized they are knocked down by a vehicle. Sometimes even because the way people park around, we realized that when the interchange was being constructed, it was part of it, but we don't know how it happens. But it is very advisable that it might be, because now many people from Shashi, when they want to go to work at Spintex, there's no Spintex station here. So they cross from Shashi, they will still cross the motorway. People, students, they'll cross the motorway to go to 37 airport to go to school. So I think if there is a footbridge, it's going to help.
Inshallah. I have a lot of stations.
Mohammed Tijani is an Okada rider. He has witnessed many deaths during these illegal crossings on the Tema motorway.
Some girl be students. She come from some place. She want to cross a road. I think somebody called her. She was receiving call before she realized the car knock her go up before she fall down. Can pass in top. Just here. At the same time, some girl come from job again. She carry paint. If you watch the ground, you can see the paint. I think fortunately, they can't knock her to all the paint pour for in top, but she no die. But the first one, the first girl, she dead. Even she stomach things all come out. Wow. I'm the one, Tijani Mohammed. Police people come, even if I'm the one go buy rubber and put her inside. At the same time, at the two, some trailer knock some guy. In head all scatter. I think the police people came, they called me, chairman. They think the guy was a Okada rider. No, he's not a Okada rider. He's one of the dispatch riders. But fortunately, as far as they ride a motorbike, I quickly go find a robber. The police people came there. I think that day they don't get gloves. I'm the one who go buy the polythene bag and put the guy inside the polythene bag. Even I carry the guy with motor care to General Hospital. The guy was dead. Wow. Yeah.
It's a motorway. The vehicles will obviously continue to speed, and the crossings will continue to pose a danger to everyone.
And a bid to use customer service as a strategic tool for sustainable job creation, Service Excellence Foundation, under the auspices of the Ghana Tourism Federation in partnership with Ghana Tourism Authority and Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, has launched the first National Tourism Customer Service Week in Accra. JoyNews' Noella Karen Yale was there and has filed this report.
Over the years, the role of customer service within the tourism global market continued to serve as the key brand differentiator between business organizations. In a bid to promote and use customer service excellence as a tourism brand and a strategic tool for sustainable jobs creation, the Service Excellence Foundation, under the auspices of the Ghana Tourism Federation, in partnership with Ghana Tourism Authority and the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, has launched the first National Tourism Customer Service Week in Accra. The launch was held at the plush Labadi Beach Hotel and saw in attendance some dignitaries and high-profile personalities in the tourism and hospitality sector. Notable amongst them was Ghana's High Commissioner to Malta, Her Excellency Barbara Akoko Benisa, President of the Ghana Tourism Foundation, Madame Bella Aho, and a host of others. Mr. Caleb Kofi is the Executive Director for Service Excellence Foundation.
Our objective is to develop, support, and promote service excellence initiatives through research, advocacy, and human resource training within the tourism and the hospitality sector of Ghana. The cliche that the customer is always right and is the king is true. Once again, COVID-19 has shown us why we must value and cherish our customers as an important part of our business.
Second Counselor to the High Commissioner of Rwanda, Sir Theophile Ruangwa, made known Rwanda's readiness to collaborate with Ghana in achieving customer service excellence.
Ghana's customer service is a cornerstone to developing and sustainable and profitable tourism and hospitality industry. The journey you have started, it is in the right direction, And on behalf of the High Commissioner for Rwanda, I'd like to assure you that you can count on our continued collaboration.
Deputy Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister, Honorable Marco Kwekumanti, who was a special guest of honor, delivered an address on the pivotal role word of mouth plays in customer service.
The most powerful promotional tool is word of mouth. And my sister mentioned how the human mouth can destroy your business in less than 24 hours, which we often take for granted. Oh, this hotel, don't you know them? Oh, they are a waste of time. Whether it is true or not, the fact that I believe in Nana talking to me, because I know Nana. Nana can. So if Nana says that I can't trust this hotel, then it's true, I can't trust them. Unlike advertisement, it is paid for. So it can be misleading. We can choose to put something together that will sound juicy. But word of mouth, the person saying whatever he's saying is not getting paid for whatever he's saying. So the first impression is that it is from the soul, it is the truth. And so it should tell us, moving on, that word of mouth is the most powerful promotional or distractive material. And so how we deal with people and where they take it and how they speak about us is a big deal.
The first National Tourism Customer Service Week celebration has been slated from the 4th to the 8th day of October 2021. For Joy News, Noella Karinyale.
There may be light at the end of the tunnel for Gideon Fafa Afenya, the boy who did not grow. The 10,000 cedi bill for diagnostics has been picked up by Twillium Foundation, which operates under Twillium Industrial Company. Gideon's story came to the fore last week when the Prime Morning crew visited him at Peki in the Volta region, where he has been pinned to the ground for 18 years by a spinal condition which rendered him unable to move his neck or any limbs. Here's a look at that story.
What have you been doing for the past 18 years? I'm sure you've been working or schooling, definitely living and growing. For Gideon, whom you're just about to meet, he spent every single day since he was 3 months old, bedridden with a spinal condition. We're here to meet him and Doris, his mother, whose life has changed dramatically since her son was diagnosed.
My sister, my friend, and I don't go hospital. I don't know pain. No go share. Say, my spinal cord. Empty. Free one. I'm on my date saying something. Now so yes, I need to be film. Now, yeah. Just can't. Let me say, it's cousin Tina. Yam fananko.
So we've come to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital to meet Dr. Hadi Abdallah, a neurosurgeon who may have a solution for Gideon's condition.
I mean, watching this now, I'm beginning to form the impression that probably he might have suffered either some spinal cord injury or brain injury of a sort.
So for us to do the tests that would properly determine what is wrong with him so that we can begin treatment, what costs are we looking at?
It's very difficult to determine. Some are beyond me, but averagely I know that if you are, for example, scanning one segment of the spine, on the average, it's between 900 to like 1,000 Ghana cedis.
The patient will have to undergo, this is the cost involved. He gets to our partners to see how best they can help. Thank you very much, sir.
I'd say it was a good visit to the hospital. Dr. Abdallah has let us know that Gideon needs to be examined before we can even begin to hope or to dismiss the possibility of his getting better. Also, Mr. Lamte, as the Office of Social Welfare here at Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, has said that his team will begin looking into the possibility of taking on the costs of Gideon's treatment and diagnosis.
Doris's case, she needs economic support. I know the government has the LEAP program. I think more has to be done. There needs to be a way government can recognize mothers or primary caregivers as carers. Do you understand? Where they can be receiving some sort of stipend monthly. I know they do it in other countries, and I know Ghana can do it too.
I'm also a special mother. I just gave birth to a child last year. She's a girl who was diagnosed with cerebral palsy spasm. She actually came with this plastic skin, and it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot we go through. Because of that, eventually I lost my job. Sometimes you have to go begging on social media. Sometimes they mock you with so many things. I just want to tell people out there, they shouldn't take us for maybe granted, or maybe they feel we are coming to them begging. No, it's because of the situation. No one prays for this situation actually.
It's been an interesting week. We've spent a lot of time talking about Gideon Fafa Apenya. If you've been tuning in, Gideon is an 18-year-old man who did not grow. Yesterday, we started another leg of the discussion looking at the subject of taking care of children like this. If it were you, what would you do?
I showed it to my house help, and she's been crying. She's been crying the whole night, asking me, "Mommy, what can we do? What can we?" I don't know. I don't know. I've not been the same. I've not been the same. Believing that I also have a newborn who is yet to be named. There are a lot of things going through my head right now, but we are keeping alive. We are
definitely keeping hope alive. Joanna, you have mentioned to me in previous conversation how much it has affected you as well. What was your initial impression?
When I first saw the story, it was also an immediate panic. And I was like, 25 years down the line, we still have children who are probably going through issues just like Gideon's story. And for me, it was like, what have we done to ourselves as individuals, as a nation, and why we haven't done much concerning these issues, concerning our healthcare and also access to our healthcare. But it was also Gideon's face that kept me glued to the story.
And how many of these types of Doris do we have in our society? How can we reach out to them? And kudos to her, congratulations to her, her strength, her energy, the love in her eyes. I don't think I would be able to, contain it. She is a strong woman, and these are the people that we need to celebrate, not the people who are on our social media doing all sorts of things, exposing themselves and doing all sorts of. These are the real women in our society, and we need to bring them to the fore. Congratulations to you, Daniel, to the RIPAL, and to MGL for bringing this up. It won't end here. Let's keep the fight on. Let's get a policy that serves everybody in our society.
And William, which produces Rush Energy Drink, Verna Mineral Water, and many other products, responded to the story by giving Gideon money and some cartons of water. We met up with them at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, where Gideon's treatment has begun.
There's an obvious look of relief on Doris's face as she sits under a shady tree in front of the surgical block of Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. She's made the long journey to Accra to seek treatment for her son. Flanking her are officials of Twilliam Foundation, who are visibly moved at the sight of 18-year-old Gideon Fafa Apenya, the boy who did not grow. Gideon is wrapped in a cloth, cradled in his mother's arms like a 3-year-old toddler. His bright eyes suggest he's interested in his new surroundings, but he can't walk, talk, or even lift his neck to acknowledge the group that has gathered for his benefit. Emilia Jesse works with Twilliam.
Twilliam believe in touching each and every life through the simple way that we can.
The product you buy from us, we don't just take the money, but we believe that something small can go to people. You can help touch a life irrespective of where you are. So far as you purchase our product, then you are giving back to society. So that is why we are here, to help this boy go through the diagnosis that he needs, to also live a life just like a normal person as we are. So if you see us here, we are from Twilliam Foundation by Twilliam Industrial Company Limited, giving our quota to support the young man also live a life just like us.
What are you giving and what's the...
Okay, so as you can see on now, we are donating 10,000 Ghana cedis for him to go through the donation, and we have some pack of water as well for him to drink. Water is life, and we believe by drinking it, he will sustain himself till the time he get there to finish what he has to go through. So if you see us here, we are donating this and our products as well.
Programs Manager for Repower Foundation, Prince Adobo, is grateful.
On behalf of Gideon's family, especially his mother, we say a very big thank you to Trillium Industries, producers of Verna Mineral Water, for what they've done for us. They've supported us with 10,000 CDs, and we are so much grateful. We also say a big thank you to the general public for also donating to us through this cause for Gideon. We pretty much appreciate that. Yeah.
Doris, Gideon's mother, also expresses her gratitude.
I didn't
have any hope. I didn't expect to get help. I thank you all for coming to our aid after hearing my story. I'm grateful for all that you have done. God bless you all.
Daniel Daze, JoyNews, Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
And we at JoyNews say thank you for donating. You can also do your part to help the little boy grow. Now, the National Ambulance Service has responded to over 4,000 cases in the Ashanti region since the beginning of the year. According to the Regional Director, Somik Dut Milon, the increase in the number of cases is a result of public confidence in the service. The increase in the fleet of ambulances has been beneficial, but there are challenges with human resources. There is more in the following report.
5 months ago, Adom and JoyNews reported the plight of residents of Asiwa in the Bosomifraho district for the activation of ambulance service. The ambulance for the area had been parked due to the non-availability of personnel to man the ambulance.
If they cannot operate this ambulance, they should just return it.
Following the reportage, 3 emergency medical technicians were deployed to the district to manage the ambulance. Residents are happy, and they say the swift response from the medical emergencies has helped save lives.
Honestly, the ambulance is doing a lot of work. I have witnessed several severe cases where the ambulance has been of help. All the personnel brought in are doing a diligent job. They are always present whenever something happens.
In the past 5 months, the emergency medical technicians at the district have effectively responded to 24 cases. District Manager of the Ambulance Service, Gerald Nee Mate Hammond, commended the residents for their cooperation.
These people have been waiting for us quite long. So when we came, they really received us nicely. And when we are walking in town, people will say, oh, ambulance service, oh, we are glad you guys are here. You guys are really coming to help us.
He's, however, worried some residents continue to use motorcycles in transporting patients to health facilities. Residents say poor roads linking the district capital to adjoining towns and remote areas inhibit access to the ambulance.
The roads here are in a bad state. It can hinder the work of these ambulances. Cars cannot reach all the neighboring towns here. The motorbike is rather hasty, so people prefer it.
Gerard Nimate believes continuous education on the operations of the ambulance service will help revive the system.
We want to really serve the people, go to their house, pick them when there is maybe a patient is unconscious or something like that. We pick him from the health to the health center. That is our core mandate, but it's like inter-hospital referrals have really taken our job. So we want to do more of education so that the public will really know our reason here.
Meanwhile, the Ashanti region has benefited tremendously from the ambulance service. Regional Director Sumik Dutsimilon says records of 2020 and 2021 indicate a boost in public confidence.
2020, we attended about over 3,000 cases. And then in 2021, by half of the year, by end of June, we had already passed 4,000 cases for Ashanti region alone. So now the public is getting more confidence in the service. Now when they call, it doesn't take much time for us to reach out to them, and then we are able to attend to them.
From Kumasi for JoyNews, Emmanuel Osei.
I'm back here in Accra and in the studios. My name is Aisha Prime. That's how we part company on The Pulse this afternoon. I've indeed enjoyed my almost 2 hours stay with you. Log on to myjoyonline.com for more news and updates of all the developing stories. And let's do this all over again tomorrow at 3 p.m. God willing. Enjoy the rest of your evening.